headline number 4, there was lots of action happening on the live stream front out of China this week. First, Diane von Furstenberg and Helena Rubinstein and others are among the global brands ramping up their own live streaming channels. And Alibaba now says, this is interesting, that brand-run streaming accounts are overtaking influencers as the biggest generators of gross merchandise value for some e-commerce platforms. For instance, retailers generated 60% of GMV on Alibaba Group's consumer-to-consumer live streaming e-commerce platform, Taobao Live, in the 12 months ending September 30th of last year. And also in somewhat related news this week, Alibaba's dedicated platform for luxury brands, Tmall Luxury Pavilion.
I hang out there all the time.
Oh yeah, so do I. I'm always cruising the pavilion. And they rolled out a one-on-one private live streaming feature to replicate the exclusive shopping experience in a physical store. Michael, save me from this disastrous headline read. I'm getting tongue-tied today. What do these headlines say to you? I'm curious about the future of where live stream commerce is headed, if anything.
Yeah, look, first of all, this one I loved because I'm fascinated and intrigued with the whole influencer world. And we've done a ton of work with influencers. I think it's very interesting that the live streaming is taking on this life that it is. And it's great. I think, you take sort of the voice back from influencers and sort of define your own voice. I think the challenge long term is, does the marketplace still feel that it's as authentic as influencers are? Because it's great to hear Diane von Furstenberg talk about her brand and what she loves, but at what point does that turn into what old school media turned into, of sort of curating a story that isn't as authentic as if a group of influencers were curating it for you? So I think this was a natural evolution that was bound to happen, but I kind of liken it to sort of the reality shows that are out there, like the Housewives. In the beginning, they were super authentic. Today, you watch the Housewives and it's just a step away from a sitcom, right? You can clearly tell that it's staged. So it'll be very interesting to see the evolution of this. I think it's in the beginning going to be very well received, going to be very powerful, terrific thing for brands to get the message out that they'd like to get out. But in the long run, does Generation Z really respond to it? I'm not 100% sure that they'll have the longevity that they're looking for.
Yeah, interesting. That was a great answer for a couple of reasons. One, I think we fundamentally agree with a lot of your points there. And two, we found out that you're a closet Real Housewives fan, which is also awesome. But Anne, I think you got some points to add on this too, because I would argue there's kind of a middle ground in this and how Michael's describing this, which I know you've been thinking a lot about, which would be good to hear your take for the audience.
Yeah. So we just interviewed Vincent Yang of a company called Firework, and the conversation that we had with him, his company works with retailers and brands to do live streaming on their own sites, and he really believes that, that's how you're going to see the return on investment from investing in this kind of content. And I think that, what's most important here, those numbers that you quoted in that article are no surprise. I mean, when you're a customer and you're on the brand's own website and you're having the experience to buy right next to and in and on that retailer's site, that is a much more seamless experience for both parties. It's better for the customer because you're engaged there, and it's way better for the brand or retailer because you have that one-to-one connection with your people who are interested in it. It doesn't mean that you can't still use influencers. And I think we'll still see an influencer relationship there driving people to the brand site. But I think that it's not, there's still this difficulty for brands and retailers in seeing the ROI directly from paying an influencers lots and lots of money, which Michael, you mentioned before, that's a huge investment from the retailer's perspective. And now moving this on platform just makes a lot more sense. You're seeing 3 times the engagement, significant increases in conversion, but also reduction in returns from people being able to engage and see that content, that product that they're buying directly from a representative of the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're dead right. I mean, I think both of you guys, like the color I'd add would be like, whether it's the brand's own site or whether it's the brand's own page on a social media platform, it seems like that's the direction things are going to move. And to Michael's point too, it's going to take some time to filter out what is the right level of authenticity for each brand in terms of how they deploy influencers on their site or on behalf of their own profile pages to make that happen versus like the traditional like marketplace approach with an influencer just controlling what they want to put out into the marketplace.
Exactly.
David, what do you think?
2 points here. I mean, I think first, the term influencer is so broad. I think this is a shot across the bow of the long tail of quote unquote influencers that don't really influence that much.
That would be great.
That's first. The second is, and I think maybe more interesting, is this is, in my mind, just a continued evolution from celebrity endorsed to celebrity brands, right? I think we're seeing it with Rihanna. Why in the world would she use, she is the influencer and she is the brand. Yeah. So I think we'll see more and more, rather than paying someone to be your influencer, they'll disintermediate and become their own brands.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like my man crush Tom Brady did this week, announcing like IP on, or like trademarks on like 16 different product categories for those that follow him closely.